Hello, fans, and dairy products of all ages. This is Cheese of Ages, and I'm sorry for the bad audio quality and the bad lighting. You see darkness around me and a light over here because behind me the actual room lights are behind me, so they create even more significant lighting issues. And all the fans in my computer are broken, so I actually have a desk fan right next to my CPU case. So that's the background noise. It sounds like an airplane that you might be overhearing via the microphone. So I'm sorry for those issues. Anyway, my first video in a long time due to not having internet for a while. And though you can't see the room behind me, I'm actually in a new living arrangement. And generally my life quality is a heck of a lot better. I have internet again after being without it for almost a year. So I can actually make YouTube videos again. And I have a couple more in production, but as you can tell from the title, wherever it's positioned as of the viewing of this video, I'm going to be doing a League of Legends related video, because as you might remember from my previous Smite related content, I am a MOBA player. Although I used to play Smite, I've stopped doing so as much as I used to, because after a long break, I lost a lot of my skill, and also the community has just gotten more and more toxic over the years. So, yeah. I just play League of Legends with my friends. So my friends stopped playing Smite as well, so that's why I pretty much quit playing for a long time, and then got back into it, but then quit again, because none of my friends are playing Smite. All my friends are playing League of Legends. So anyway, here's the actual content of this video that I'm going to be talking about, and that's champions that are OP technically, but aren't really discussed as being OP. And the first episode is going to be inspired by a couple of games I recently had, actually, because Nasus, the subject of this video, was on free rotation, so I faced a hell of a lot of them. And yeah, Nasus is ridiculous. I played a game in which I was playing Gangplank. I won my lane. Nasus became an unstoppable killing machine. You know, because all Nasus is farm, last hits for the Q, then split push like a motherfucker. And he does a shit ton of siege damage to towers, so he couldn't do anything. He couldn't advance. He just like turtle under tower, farmed under tower. I roam. He pushes up immediately. Takes a shit ton of damage onto my tower, because that's what Nasus do. And because I had no jungler presence, there was nothing to be done about it. Nasus became an unkillable monstrosity, and I did nothing wrong in the lane, aside from making the mistake of letting him turtle under tower. So it's like, either I don't do anything in my lane, or, you know, let's go into more detail, because some people are saying, oh, all you have to do is lane freeze, which is the act of only last hitting, and if your opponent pushes the lane will immediately start pushing back towards your tower. And if you lane freeze there, you can usually keep the minion wave just at your tower. And in that case, if you do that next to your tower, you're denying a lot of gold and experience CS to your lane opponent, because you can call upon your jungler then, and then have that jungler gank and kill them for you. And then you can like push up or do what you want because you killed the lane opponent. The thing is, this one suggestion that supposedly is all you can do to shut down Nasus in top lane requires the person playing Nasus to not be playing Nasus correctly. Because You know what Nasus' entire thing is? Last hitting with Q until he stacks up the maximum number of stacks and can use his Q to one-hit people. So his entire thing is lane freezing. So his entire thing is not pushing the lane, which in order for your lane freeze to move back to tower requires them to push the lane. If your opponent's entire existence is built around lane freezing won't work on them. So yes, the only valid counter, if you are playing a melee character, the only way to counter Nasus doesn't work on Nasus when Nasus is played correctly. Go look it up. Every suggestion you get will be lane freeze near your tower and call your jungler. Doesn't work. Someone will openly admit it will only work if Nasus pushes your lane. Nasus doesn't push the lane. Nasus doesn't care about your tower. Nasus just farms his Q up until the maximum. That's all he cares about, farming his Q. Your tower doesn't matter to Nasus being played properly. He doesn't care. All he cares about is his Q. He'll just push that. If you come in on him, he'll just farm under tower. You try to push your lane, he'll just farm under tower. And you can't do nothing about it. He's tanky as fuck and nigh unkillable. You can't all in a Nasus under tower. If you try, you'll just die and you won't do shit to him. Because he's fucking tanky as hell. And he'll out-damage you because he's been farming his Q up and can one-hit you late game. It's like, oh, kill everyone around him. He can one-hit people with his Q. Oh, just kite him. Yeah, kinda hard to do when all the squishies know that the only way to counter Nasus is to kite him, so they're gonna stay right next to the frickin' guy that can one-hit motherfuckers with one move. So yeah, kill everybody, kite the Nasus and kill everybody that's standing right next to him within his auto-attack range, because they know how freaking ridiculous Nasus is. There is no valid counter-strategy to Nasus properly played. No counterplay whatsoever. None. If you gank him early, he'll just stay under tower. He'll farm his jungler. He'll farm if he's on the top lane on red side. He'll just take the golems that are right there, the Krugs. He'll just farm his Q on those every once in a while until inevitably the lane pushes up because he's not there. Then he'll farm it. And then he'll farm it, and he'll farm it some more. Oh, and if you do manage to successfully lane freeze under tower and he's like, oh, this sole strategy that counters me. Hey jungler, do you want to go into the enemy jungle and shut down the enemy jungler and steal all of their buffs? I'll come help you. Just let me have all of the last hits on the things that don't matter to you. You can have most of them, just let me farm my Q up a bit in the jungle, and we can kill the enemy jungler, and we can just run roughshod on the enemy team. Oh look, my lane's pushed up. Boop, boop, boop. I'm back under my top tower. Every time you try to push up, I'm back. I'm back. Oh, yeah, the lane has been pushed up again. I'm gonna go kill your jungler again, using the help of my jungler. I'm going to go gank the other lanes. See you later. Oh, you're pushing again. I'm here again. Hello, how are you doing? When there's only one valid strategy, they counter it immediately. There is nothing to do against Nasus if he is played correctly. He's ludicrous. He's stupid. He's ridiculous. I mean, it's just plain silly. There's no stopping it. Nothing. Oh, he's easily kited. Huh. Turns out Righteous Glory is a pretty good item for a tank. And items really don't matter on him because his Q can one-hit you no matter what, really. He can just righteous glory and fast super speed after you and make himself 50% less kiteable. Oh, and all of his things are like, all of his teammates are like, oh, Nasus is fed. Let's ride on his back. So if they want to attack us, they have to go through his fracking Q, one-hitting everybody that's not a tank. And will kill anybody that he hits, like the tank, and will just destroy the tank immediately after he hits them. Oh, and will just like his 90% slow on one target will just destroy him, that person. It's like, oh, ignore Nasus late game and like kill everyone around him. Well, Nasus is over there in the other lane, split pushing, killing your tower in like 3 Qs. And like pushing up your entire lane in like 3 seconds because his Q is so freaking ridiculous. This is just stupid. It's stupid. There's only one valid strategy to counter him. Aside from playing a ranged character, the only valid strategy is to freaking countering this character relies on him not playing properly. How is that not overpowered? That is ridiculous. But anyway. Yeah. That's so many games against the Nasus, and because he was on free rotation. And every time he becomes a nigh unkillable monstrosity. The only time I've won against one was just from the fact that, you know, like, we had enough CC to like bring down God himself. You know, I mean, the only reason we won that fight, we were behind 13k gold, and nearly an entire Fed champion. And the only reason we won is because they threw a single team fight at the 45-minute mark, and respawn timers at 45 minutes are ridiculously fracking long, and they threw it. They just threw it. You know? So, us in like 13k behind, a full champion behind them, worth of gold behind them, pushed up their freaking mid lane like rabid dogs and killed their freaking Nexus, winning the game, because they threw a team fight. And we dropped 3 ults on them. That's the only reason we freaking won. We need out 3 ults, and 2 of us ignited Nasus. That's the only reason why we won. And plus that Nasus wasn't building tanky. As tanky as he could be. If you actually build Nasus correctly, he's unkillable. He's a complete unkillable monster. That was a jungle Nasus. Don't get me started on how do you keep Nasus from farming his Q when he's in the jungle. If your jungler doesn't counter jungle his ass. And seriously, even then, even if the one supposedly valid countering strategy, lane freeze next to your tower and call the jungler, what is balanced about the only counterplay to a champion is totally reliant on calling for help? What kind of counterplay is that? That's not counterplay. Oh, call 2 people. Oh, Nasus is split pushing. Send 3 people. What kind of fucking counterplay is that? It's like, oh, how do you stop a Nasus split pushing? Send most of your team. What the hell? This is stupid. Anyway, that's all I really have to say about that. Although I should probably, this was a loose formatted thing, I should probably have explained the abilities of the overpowered champion. I'll just click over to the League of Legends wiki and give a overview of Nasus's abilities. Yeah. There we go. Fighter tank. He has Soul Eater as his passive, which gives him 10 free lifesteal, which scales up to 15 and 20% as the game goes on, so he automatically has a lot of nice sustain with his things. His Q, Siphoning Strike, is an auto-attack reset, which means when you trigger it, it immediately causes you to auto-attack with an additional bonus. This one deals bonus damage, and he gets freaking stacks of this. He can stack this up to deal additional damage, stacking more and more and more. This is his entire farming strategy. Just farm Q up so it does a frack ton of damage and you can one-hit motherfuckers with it. Wither. It's a slow, single target slow. And it reduces their movement speed by 35% for 5 seconds, and the attack speed, their attack speed is also slowed by half the amount, initially 15.5%. The slow increases over the duration of that 5 seconds to, at maximum rank, it's a 95% slow, which practically is a stun. And at 90% slow, it's like 47% attack speed. Like, oh, look, your ADC, Wither, he's dead, and he's out of the fight immediately. It's practically a stun. Spirit Fire, AoE damage that scales with AP, so this is not going to do a tremendous amount of damage normally until late game. It's a big-ass lane-sized field of damage that makes it easier for him to last hit shit. Now, Nasus playing properly isn't going to use this awful much because he's trying to lane freeze. If you're Nasus, you ain't using his ability that much, unless you're split pushing. If you're in a laning environment, you never touch it. And when you're just like doing the wave, because you just want to last hit. You don't want to push the wave. You want to keep that wave there. Because if you use Spirit Fire and start like last hitting really rapidly on them things, the lane will get pushed up. And then the only counterplay you have will come into effect. Now, Fury of the Sands. You empower yourself, making yourself bigger, which means you have an increased attack range, and makes an area effect of damage around you that is percentage of their maximum health, so it hurts tanks more, and it converts the damage it deals into extra attack damage for him. Oh, and let's not forget that he has passive lifesteal. So he has crap tons of lifesteal, so you just can keep hitting people, and keep hitting people, and gaining more and more life back. So yeah, the Q, just farming up that Q so it just like destroys people. And the cooldown on that sucker late game is only 4 seconds. Which, I've killed somebody. I'm still here, I'm still here. I'm tanking your shit. Oh, I'm killing you. 4 seconds without cooldown reduction. With cooldown reduction, he can get that just like freaking 2 seconds. Every 2 seconds, he can nearly one-shot anybody. It's ridiculous. It's silly. The only way to counter fracking Nasus relies on you calling your jungler to gank frequently, which puts your other lanes at a disadvantage, and it can be easily countered by playing Nasus like he's supposed to be played. And even if you do make the mistake as Nasus of trying to hyperfarm the wave to get stacks really rapidly, you can just leave the lane and farm the enemy jungle with the assistance of your jungler, and shut down the enemy jungler, which even more sets back the other lanes. So yeah, Nasus doesn't help the other lanes, so all that has to do is the other lanes win, and Nasus can't do anything. No, that don't work. You get, like I said multiple times, Nasus pushes up to the tower and you lane freeze, kill the enemy jungler with Nasus. It's like, hey, allied jungler, let's go kill the enemy jungler and shut him down, and then like freaking gank other lanes. Oh, look, my tower's pushed up too, so I'll go back up there because I'm a top laner. I use teleport, so I can just boop back up there and lane freeze under my tower. Well, I pushed the wave again because my enemy roamed because I lane freezed. I'm gonna push the tower up. So the lane push push my lane up. Go kill the enemy jungler. If the other top laner comes back to like stop the guy to like save his tower, I'll just leave, team up with my jungler again, gank the fuck out of other lanes after killing the enemy jungler again. He pushes back up, I'll just go right back up there. Ain't no big deal. Ain't no thing like a chicken wing. I can't believe I just said that. But still, the only valid counter strategies to Nasus are easily countered, and rely on another person, or you to play a specific type of champion, which means if you don't play draft, you can't counter him half of the time because you picked a melee character. You didn't pick Quinn or a ranged top laner, which there are actually very few ranged top laners in the meta currently, so congratulations. Yeah, Nasus is just stupid. Next episode will be more organized in format, and we'll be looking at the annoyance of Vladimir, who, if rumor is to be believed, the one champion Riot regrets putting in the game. Let's see why. This is Cheese of Ages, signing off.